Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Daniela. Today, we're going to host AKL Academy's free webinar. We'll be sharing practical tips for parents, teachers, and therapists. We're thrilled to have Ana Pedraza. She's an experienced occupational therapist and sensory integration specialist. She will be leading out today's session, and she will walk us through simple, effective strategies to build daily living skills in children. Today we're living Zoom and YouTube. So Anna, welcome today, and just go on.
Hello, good morning. Thank you, everyone. Well, as Daniela mentioned, I'm Ana Pedraza. I'm an occupational therapist. I'm part of the clinical department of AKL Academy. Um, Today, we're going to share some information about promoting daily living skills. That's one of the biggest goals in all of our children and in every person. We want to be independent in all the activities. So I'm going to share my screen. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to add it in the chat. And Daniela will help me with that as well. Um, Okay. Today we're going to share it in English, but of course, if you need information in Spanish, then I'll be happy to share it as well. And at the end of the webinar, we are going to send to your email some information as well. So that will be helpful for each one of us. Okay. Let me share my screen and let's start. Okay, so our topic today is promoting daily living skills, how to teach independence at home. Um, so, first of all, it is important to know what is ADLs, right? So ADLs are the activities of daily living. That's the meaning of those letters. And it's the term that we use to describe all the fundamental skills required to independently care for ourselves, such as eating, bathing, or showering, grooming, walking, dressing, undressing, doing transfers, toileting. So all of these are the activities that we do for ourselves. That by the end of we being like growing up, we are able to perform all of these activities with ourselves. That's the mean that we are independent in all these activities, okay? Let me, I just turn, oh my goodness. Are you seeing my screen still? Okay, because this was kind of, okay. Now, let's continue. There is another term that is IADLs. So what does this mean? This means is instrumental activities of daily living. So these are the activities that we do to take care of ourselves or in our homes. So that is like doing laundry, using transportation, shopping for groceries, preparing meals. So these are all the activities that we care about our environment as well, like more more complex tasks that after we are independent, we are able to make different type of activities later on. So it is important that we understand what type of skill the child is able to perform or to do every time they grow up. So for example, in terms of dressing, by 12 months, our childs are able to cooperate with dressing, but putting arms or legs out. Then between 1 to 2 years, they are tolerate nappy changes, remove socks and shoes, can put on and take off the loose fitting hat, pushes arms and legs through sleeves or pant legs. By 2 to 3 years, our child will be able to unbutton large buttons, helps to take off pants and shirts. Then between 3 to 4 years, he's able to complete main parts of getting dressed, able to get undressed independently, requires assistance with laces, buttons, zips, etc. By 4 to 5 years, he's able to choose like weather appropriate clothes. He can zip a zipper. And then after 5 to 6 years, he can dresses independently, put shoes on correct fit, able to tie shoelaces, or maybe if they are not still able to tie shoelaces, he can do it with Velcro. So in terms of dressing, each time or by different ages, they are able to perform different type of activities. Of course, this come besides the motor skills they are able to perform. So if, for example, my child is 6 years old, but he's only able to unbutton large buttons, so I cannot ask him to dress independently because he's still like in another stage of his development. And we have to build all these steps and all these stages. That way he can become more independently in the later on activities. So what can we do? What tips we can do to help our child to get dressed by himself or become more independent in this activity? The first thing is make dressing routines fun and engaging, like maybe singing songs and playing with clothes. Although dressing usually happens at the start and the end of the day. So use opportunities through the day when you can practice dressing skills. Like, for example, if they are going to the park, so putting on or taking off shoes, maybe putting on a hat because it's sunny. When you go to the toilet, like practicing like pulling the pants. Another activity that we can do is like play with dolls, like getting dressed the dolls or undressed, everything with pretended play. For complex tasks such as buttons, like zips and shoelaces, it is important that we practice fine motor skills, like manipulating small things, doing like threading beads, or playing with pasta, or posting coins. So everything that they have to manage and to get strong their fine motor skills. Because if we think of independence, as I mentioned, we are thinking like each stage of it or each age, the child is able to perform different type of activities. But if they are struggling with their motor skills or in their sensory skills, well, we cannot ask our child to do that activity. So we have to work with them, like with playing activities that they can just get strength in their hands. They have to work a lot in bilateral coordination using both hands. So this is really important to do if we want to work in their independence as well. Now, in terms of feeding, for example, like from early ages, where the child will be able to suck and swallow well, for example, between 0 to 3 months, then later on between 3 and 6, well, the child shows interest in food or opens mouth for spoon. Then between 6 to 12 months, our child begins like with solid food, so tolerates a range of foods of different textures. Is able to hold drinks from cup of bottle, begins like that finger feed themselves, brings to drink from an open cat. Okay, then later between 1 to 2 years, our child is able to feed themselves with a spoon, holds a drink from an open cup. It's able to distinguish between edible and inedible objects, shows clear likes or dislikes of food. So at these early ages, we begin to see if they are selective with different type of food as well. So that's another thing that we can be aware of, how they react in regards to the different type of textures of the food. After between 2 and 3 years, the child begins to be able to feed themselves with utensils, like a spoon is the early one. Then they start to serve themselves, may have some spills. That's normal. That's part of the milestones. The child eats the same food as the rest of the family, wipes own mouth and hands, and later on they begin maybe to use the fork and knife. They can help, like maybe feed the pet or things like that. So in these stages, they begin all that process, but then they just can do it more complex as well. So what can we do to stimulate the independence in feeding? It is important to encourage exploration of food with hands and mouth. Don't be afraid to get messy. And this is just a clip in between. It's like when we see that our child is like picky or is very sensitive with different type of food, it is important that they explore with their hands. Everything that our child is not able to hold or to get touch with their hands, they're not going to put it in their mouth. So it is important to get messy, to play with the hands, with the food. This another one is really important, is to ensure your child's head, neck, and trunk is well supported and has good seated position during meal times. So what it is important is because the posture is one of the biggest thing when you are eating. If our child has not neck control or it's hard for them to be in a correct position, they're not able to do this feeding part. So make sure of their position. That's why in therapy, we work a lot in getting strength for their neck, their muscles, their back. That way they're able to feed themselves as well. Another tip is to introduce a variety of food tastes as early as 6 months of age. Of course, work on hand with your pediatrician and the nutrition that the child is able to take. Respect your child's cues to suggest they like or dislike the food. Like, for example, they are doing head turning or keeping the mouth shut, like, I don't want this. So make sure that the meals are fun, because if they are like in oppositional to the activity, that's not something that they're going to learn in a fun way. It's going to be traumatic for them. So make these activities and the meal times really fun and enjoyable for them. It is very important that we put other toys or screen time away when they are eating to allow your child to be present in the meal time. That's a really big mistake that we are doing right now. Like, okay, because I want that my child eats, so I put a screen on it. So that's not enjoyable for them, and they are not like present in the meal time. So make those meal times more present for them, enjoyable, and that they really feel comfortable with that. Work on self-feeding skills during playtime by using spoons and cups in pretend play or in the bath. So, for example, in this case, like maybe we can do games when maybe we have two different cups and we have some beans on one cup, and with a spoon they can just pour from one cup to the other one. So that way we are working in the control of the hand, we are working in that skill, and they feel that it's fun. Or in the bath time, maybe with the cups and water. So those activities are really important to ensure that we are working in their motor skills and in their ability to coordinate the movement, like from the plate to the mouth. And of course, it is very important to encourage structured family meal times. I know sometimes routines are not easy to follow, but it's really important that we have times, specific times for meal times, like in the morning, I don't know, every 3 hours, or depends of the routines of each home activities. But it is important that we have settled different meal times. That way they can be like more organized, and it helps them become more independent as well. Okay, now in regards to toileting, so between 1 to 2 years of age, your child lets you know when they need to use the toilet. They lets you know when they are wet or soil in their diaper. Then between 2 to 3 years, they use a toilet with assistance, like wiping and clothes. They can distinguish between urination and bowel movements and name them correctly. They are able to toilet during the day with few accidents, need reminders, and or diapers at night. After 3 years, between 3 and 4, they are able to use the toilet during the day with no accidents. They are able to use the toilet at night with no accidents for urination. Also, they are able to use the toilet at night with some accidents for bowel movements, may wear diapers at night. Between 4 to 5, they have complete daytime control for both urination and bowel movements, may require reminders for toilet at night. And between 5 to 7, they develop complete nighttime control for both urination and bowel movements. Again, this is just like an idea, but each child has their own like needs and skills. So depends of our child skills, we can continue working in the next step. So just keep in mind these like ages and stages, and in regards to that, we can ask our child, or we can work in our child's skills. So what can we do? For toileting, the routine is really important. So we need to set a toilet routine and use visual schedule to follow the routine. For example, in the picture, we have like how we can use a visual schedule for a child, for a boy. So what do we do? Which step is following the next one? And that way it's visible for them, and they get to understand much better the activity. Another thing that we can do is to ensure a balanced diet and plenty of water through the day. Ensure a suitable toilet setup so that your child feels comfortable, relaxed, and secure while using it. Use a secure stool for resting feet, and ensure toilet paper is easy to reach. So something that happens, and I had so many cases in the past, like when the child does not like the bathroom, the toilet activity, because I don't know, the colors or the things that are around, the smell. So make that space more comfortable for them, that they feel that it's okay, that is is nice. Sometimes we make as parents the mistake of like, oh, poo-poo, oh, wow, wakala, or things like that. And that is like a message that we are giving to our child that that's not something we do, that is it's not enjoyable, it's not good. So of course they have different smells and things like that, but the point is that we have to be like calm and patient and transmit that to them, and transmit that that's something that everybody does, that is comfortable, that we need to do it, and he will be okay. In terms of hygiene, so between 2 to 3 years, the child is able to use a napkin to wipe face and hands. Between 3 to 4, they can wash and dry on hands, attempts to brush teeth. Between 4 to 5, they are able to wash most body parts independently, except for their hair. Between 5 to 6, they can brush their teeth independently. And between 6 to 8, they showers independently. Again, try to stimulate that the child does it by themselves. For example, if they are 7-year-old and they are just starting to watch their body independently, so allow them to do it and show them how to do it as well, because none of us were born like learning everything. So we have to model and we have to show them how to do it. And in regards to that and how they become more independent and they are able to do different activities, we can begin to teach more complex skills as well. So what can we do? Make bad times fun and engaging by using bad toys, singing songs, and doing water play. Incorporate showering and brushing teeth routines into pretend to play or role play activities, like as I mentioned before, like maybe with dolls that we brush their teeth and things like that. So that way, then we can practice in ourselves as well. And the biggest tip for all the routines is like use visual schedule to indicate the steps for showering, brushing teeth, washing hands. So for example, in the picture, you see step by step, what should we do when we are brushing teeth or when we wash the hands? So maybe for some kiddos, it's difficult to understand some pictures, but another way how we can make visual schedules is with the picture of our own child. So we can take a picture of them like opening the sink, the water, and maybe getting wet the hands and then put the soap. So we can have this step by step or this visual schedule with their own pictures, and have it always in a really close place, like for example in the bathroom, close to the mirror, where they can see it and they can follow each one of the steps. Okay, this is another like way how we can maybe work on visual schedules. And the activities that I have just mentioned, those are the activities of daily living, the activities that we do for taking care of ourselves. But for example, in this visual schedule, we have examples of activities of daily living and instrumental activities of daily living. Like when older kiddos, we begin to involve them in different type of activities, like for example, making bed, or for example, pack backpack or feed the pet. So those are activities that they can help at home or do to help or take care of their room, or taking the laundry away. So there are different options or different type of schedules that we can do, so that way our child can make like a check mark that they have done, they did it that day. Or for example, I like this one because it's like, okay, the routines that we do in the morning, the routines that we do after afternoon, and the routines that we do in the evening. So that way they are organized in each one of the activities as well. And we can make it in regards to our specific needs, our specific routines as a family, and depends what we really need for each day. Now, in terms of instrumental activities of daily living, so this is a common question that sometimes come to me, is like, what type of activities I can ask my child to do to help at home, for example. So in these charts, we can see some examples. For example, between 2 to 3 years of age, they can begin to help make the bed. They can pick up toys and books. They can put laundry in hamper. They can help feed pets. They can help like clean the dust. Between, for example, 4 to 5 years of age, they can help to clean and set the table. They can, for example, take laundry to laundry room. They can help us like match socks and fold them, put away laundry, get, for example, the newspaper or the mail. Later, between 6 to 8 years of age, for example, they can help like clean the bathroom, the sinks and counters. They can help pack school lunches. They can, for example, water plants or flowers. So these are different type of examples that we can ask. I think that there are some questions in the chat. Okay. Yes, sure. We'll share this information in English and in Spanish as well. I'll make sure of that. I think that we have to do this presentation in Spanish as well in another time. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So for example, and later on, like between 9 to 11, then okay, they can just take trash to car, they can vacuum, they can move floors, they can begin like food preparation. That's another question sometimes that came to us, like, okay, what time my child is able to make food by themselves? So okay, we can start, or we can begin this skill or this task after 9 years of age, for example, in regards to this example. But again, depends the skills or the abilities that our child has and what they are working on, what they are able to do. Maybe another kiddos are able to do it early at 8 years of age, or later like 12. I don't know. Depends our child's skills. But for example, before making or doing food preparation, they can help us like scrambled eggs, or pour some, I don't know, we are going to make a cake, so they can help in different type of skills, and later on they can begin to do things by themselves as well. So this is information that we're going to share in the email, like all these charts that gave us a clue, an idea what type of activities our child is able, or what can I ask, or what can I work for our child to be able to do it. And of course, we can also add some school activities, like making their backpack for the next day, doing their homework, things like that. Oh, I go back. Okay, this is another example, but in terms of all these activities of daily living or instrumental activities, there are some cases when we have to adapt the tools. We have to adapt the utensils in regards to our child motor skills or their ability. So for example, I don't know, my child has cerebral palsy and they are able to perform the movement of the arm, but they don't have the proper grip. So I can adapt the spoon that way they can feed themselves independently. So the activities doesn't have to be like perfect in the way to do it. The point is that they are able to perform it, even if I have to adapt different type of utensils or in regards to the motor skills. They are not able to um, to tie their shoes, but maybe they are able to put on their shoes and use Velcro on them. So it's like different type of activities that we can adapt in regards to our child needs. For example, for the grip, there are a lot of kiddos that have fine motor skill issues. So we can adapt it like with a white pen, or maybe like, for example, in this case with the spoon, we just adapt the grip for them. So that way they're able to do it by themselves. So these are just some examples. So in summary, it is really important that we always break down complex tasks into smaller steps. So for example, in this picture, so maybe the big activity is getting dressed, but we can break down step by step. Like for example, take clothes off, put on the underwater on, put shirt on, pull pants up, put on shoes, put on shoes. So we're just breaking that step by step what they have to do in the terms that they are able to perform the whole activity. Okay, so that's just an example with that one, but we can break down the steps in all the activities. Again, use visual support to reinforce routines and expectations. There are another, I don't have the picture here, but there are another pictures, like for example, first we put on socks, then we put on shoes. Like just small steps when they just know what is first and what is next. As I mentioned in the pictures before, like adapt strategies based on individuals' needs and progress. So if I have to adapt the activity or do it different, making sure that my child is able to do it, I'll do it, okay? And of course, always reinforce learning with positive feedback. So you did it great. You were able to put on your shoes by yourself. You put the right shoes in the right foot. So always with positive feedback. Okay, this is going to be in the presentation, but just some resources where you can find out some like really important information in terms of independence that you can search and review in deeper if you want to get more information in terms of this topic. A reminder, like always being consistent in your child's therapy is a key as well. Each session adds to their ground and well-being. With practice, perseverance, and family support, you will overcome any challenge together. Every effort counts towards a promising future. So what is this? It's like you're not alone. Always I say, all the process has to be in a team, like family team, therapy team, everyone, school, everyone that is around the child has to do something in regards to help our child, because our goal is our own child. And in all the different activities, even in therapy at home, or all the things that we are working on, is we are working to get our child more independent in all the activities of their daily living. Well, thank you so much. I don't know if there is any questions.
Thank you so much, Anna. I think this is a great information for all of us, no matter if we're parents, cousins, aunties, maybe we also are surrounded by some childs. We have some questions that we have received in from Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. So um, someone asked, how can I tell if my child is ready to start learning self-care task?
Well, it's really important that we look our child interest. When we see that they are interested in do something by themselves. Sometimes I get the comment of the parents like, they want to do it everything by themselves. They don't want my help. They don't want, so that means they want to do it. So don't take that idea away. Just show them, model them, and teach them how to do it better, because of course we want that they grew the activity, they grew the skill, but in the terms that they show that interest, we can just take advantage of that and begin to take to take them into the more complex skills. But that's the first sign of that they want to do it by themselves.
And what about the other part? Like, how do I, what can I do if my child refuses to get involved in this task?
In this step, oh, something is going to come. That is something really common, and in terms of kiddos that are really sensitive to different type of activities. Like, for example, when we see that they are picky eaters or they are selective with different type of feeling or tactile sensitive or different skills. I think that this come more with all those sensory issues that maybe they can be like aware of that. The point is like begin step by step. Don't make pressure on them, and just maybe involve them in the activities that you are doing by themselves. Like, for example, in the you are cooking, so involve them in helping you to maybe cut something or peel out the fruits or things like that. So make it no pressure, but begin to involve them, and that is fine, it's okay, understand their feelings, and maybe adapt some activity. Okay, so you don't want to touch that, but maybe we can use gloves, or we can make it the way that is easier for them, but in those terms they are able to get involved in the activity, and they are going to begin and to get more independence in that. And but always is like involve them in the activities with you, help them, be your hand on the way.
And would you say like involve them, do not put any pressure, but keep consistent, like
Mhm,
motivating them and
mhm.
involving and make part of these activities. Um, there's one last question. How do I support a child with limited fine motor skills to become more independent?
Wow, well, as I mentioned before, I cannot ask my child to, for example, tie their own shoes if they don't have the fine motor skill. So begin with bigger activities with fine motor skills, like maybe help, I don't know, with tape, taking some tape out, doing that fine motor grip, and working in activities that they have to coordinate both parts of their bodies, like doing activities like putting water, or the example that I gave before, like maybe with a spoon taking from one cup to another cup and putting different type of could be like solid and then liquid. So that way we work in that strength, that coordination. And another thing that I always say is like, if they don't have their fine motor skills, like correctly yet. We have to review the whole body, as we say, like the neck, the trunk, and sometimes we want that our child do the grip and the fine motor, but maybe they have difficulty like moving their arm, or they don't have the really good strength of the whole body. So we have to begin with gross motor activities and then moving on to fine motor activities to get more strength, and in that way we can involve them more in those type of skills that are challenging for them.
We have another question, Anna. What's the best age to start teaching daily living skills to our child?
Well, as early as toddlerhood is the best age, but if we saw in the presentation, each age has different type of skills that we can begin to work on. So if our child, for example, again in feeding, they begin like feeding after 6 months, and they begin like feed by themselves with their fingers, but then we can work in them with the spoon. So as early as they become in their motor and in their milestones, like with their proper skills, we can begin to stimulate the different stages of the different activities. So uh, just look careful of your child's skills, and of course these charts in terms of the stages is just a key or an idea. What can we look or what can we search in terms of their milestones? So if my child is 4 years old and is still eating with their fingers, that means, hey, I need to work on this. I need to get more independent. I need that he begins to feed themselves with the spoon. So it's just a look on the skill and what can I expect in terms of those skills.
Okay, we have no more questions so far. If anyone is watching this not in live but recorded, you can send us some questions and we will more than happy to help you. If you find any value in these spaces, AKL Academy is a free webinar offered by AKL Pediatric Therapy Company, and we want to be like support for families, teachers, and therapists in any topic they need. So here are our social media account, and please follow us. See you next time. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you. Yes, and as Daniela mentioned, this presentation will be in our YouTube. So if you feel that this is important, you can share it with someone. And of course, if you always have found value in this information, we really love to hear from you. So please take some few minutes and leave us a positive review on Google, and your feedback is really important for us. We really appreciate it, and that's why we create these spaces for all of
Yeah.
you. So
And
thank you so
if
much.
also there's any other topic you want us to bring in this space, just send us a message and we'll be working on it. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you, Anna.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye.